Hey, Slater Crusaders, quick comment on how it's not the guns. The best article I've read on this comes from Leah Libresco. She writes about her transformation from an anti-NRA, anti-Second Amendment person who thinks that we should ban guns to someone who realized that guns aren't the problem. She used to get really frustrated at the NRA that they were blocking Congress from banning guns and passing gun control. Even though, by the way, the NRA gives very little money to politicians. There was an article about this in Vox that in 2004, the NRA gave John Cornyn, who's a Texas senator, $9,000. And that was more than any other Republican senator in that election cycle. That's nothing. In 2014, he raised $14 million. They gave $9 grand. You add up all the money that the NRA has given John Cornyn over the past decade, and it's about 1% of his fundraising for one election. And he's one of the biggest candidates of NRA money in Congress. So there's this perception that the NRA is buying Congress. You hear a lot of rhetoric like to politicians, stop taking money from the NRA because our children are dying and congressmen are funded by the NRA. Like zero basis in reality. Anyway, not the point. Leah Libresco spent 3 months analyzing the 33,000 deaths from guns each year. And she said she wound up frustrated in a whole new way. That the case for the policies that, in her words, I've lobbied for crumbled when I examined the evidence. So the very short of her conclusion was that 2/3 of the gun control deaths are from suicide. The second largest group are people killed by guns, 18 to 34 men. And then the second largest is women murdered from domestic violence. And her conclusion is that instead of banning guns, let's tailor our intervention to the potential victims. Better suicide prevention for older men make up most of the suicides. More monitoring and mentoring and identifying kids in gangs, and then protecting women who are in abusive relationships. We'll put a link to our article in the comments here, but I'll just end with this. We can't have conversations about gun violence in America and how to stop it unless the left first admits that conservatives want to stop mass shootings too. This is something I wrote about in my book, Contempt. Right? You can't even begin to change someone's mind or have someone change your mind if you have contempt for each other. And that makes a conversation impossible. And that's where we are right now with the left, right? The left, they've scurried to the top of their moral superiority mountain and they're finger pointing down at you conservatives because you want school shootings. No, blood on your hands. No, nothing productive will ever happen if we keep talking to each other like that. So let's all agree that we want to stop all shootings. And we want to stop suicide, and we want to stop gang violence, and we want to stop domestic violence. We may differ in how we want to do that, but we all want to do it. And I'll argue it's not the guns. If only it was that easy.